Tennessee has found itself a star. No, quite literally. A running back star, Thomas from Duke, is now leaving Durham and headed to Knoxville for his final season of eligibility. Let's go ahead and grade the move. Welcome on into SEC Unfiltered. He's Dave Shumate. I'm Cole Thompson, and today we talk about the Blue Devil becoming a volunteer. Real quickly, make sure that you like the video, hit the ring notification, and smash that subscribe button because we talk college football every single day. Download the podcast version of the show wherever you get your podcast listening systems. Follow us on the socials, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at SEC Unfiltered. Follow Dave at Dave Shumate SEC. Me and Mr. Cole Thompson, and check out all of our great work found at secunfiltered.com. This episode is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com/SECU to join today and get started with $300 in bonus bets with your first $5 bet. Dave, there is no downside with this move, in my opinion. You're losing Dylan Sampson, one of the best running backs in college football last year. You have two young up-and-comers in Peyton Lewis and Deshaun Bishop that you believe can be the backbone of your team moving forward. This is an offense that loves to trust its run game and take pressure off of Nico Iamaleava. You don't know what you're getting in the two young guys. Here's what you do know. A veteran in Star Thomas that's coming off of a breakout year at Duke, over 800 rushing yards, over 200 carries, 7 touchdowns, was the focal point alongside with Malik Murphy en route to a 9-3 season. It's a win-win-win all around in terms of believing that you have a veteran for a young core, but also a guy with proven experience that can probably tote the rock 15 to 16 times a game if you need him to.
No, I agree with you, Bear. I think it is a complimentary depth piece. Let's see. Again, you read anything about his visits. He's already taken a visit to UCF, but after his visit with Josh Heupel and Darrell Sims, the running backs coach at Tennessee, I saw there was an article from Ryan Callahan, who does a good job for Tennessee. It's 247 Sports, saying there was no promises made in this visit. Just, hey, do you want to come in, compete for a spot? Like you mentioned, Bear, like there's probably going to be – I don't even think Josh Heupel and Sims could tell you, like, hey, we don't really know how this room's going to shake out. We just want to have some available chess pieces. Because, again, I think we talked about it off air, but outside of the injuries for Deshaun Bishop and Peyton Lewis, we really didn't know what Tennessee's depth was in 24 because they kind of just rode the hot hand to Dylan Sampson. We talked about that a lot on Sunday Fun Day and stuff like that. Like, hey, will they inevitably need some depth towards the back end of the year? I mean, it's easy to say now, hindsight 2020 in the Ohio State game with Dylan Sampson going down. Yeah, they probably wish they developed a little bit more depth and continuing to give Sampson 25, 30 carries against the teams like Mississippi State and Kentucky down the stretch where you're just putting miles on his legs. Maybe that's something they're adjusting this year. Hey, let's have a little bit more by committee approach. I think Star Thomas comes in and gives them that. I mean, they got 3 kind of real big, compact build with a lot of mass to all 3 of these guys' frames, and Bishop, Lewis, and Thomas. I like the addition across the board here. It can't hurt. Well, I see no negative in this, and we've said that a lot in these videos at times when we're grading these transfer portal additions, Barry. You can't be there's nothing wrong. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Might as well give it a run. I think by committee approach as these seasons get longer, these teams in the playoffs, I think that's key. Maybe Heupel's changing his philosophy up a little bit.
One thing that people don't seem to understand is that despite the go-go style of the passing attack that Josh Heupel loves to run, this is still a very run-oriented offense. Back-to-back years in 2022 and then 2024, top 10 rushing units. They love to be able to utilize the ground game because what it does is it sets out the passing attack. Last season, you look at what you had in Dylan Sampson, 258 carries. Nico Iamaleava finished second in carries with 109. Combined, Deshaun Bishop and Peyton Lewis didn't even sniff the same level of Dylan Sampson's production. So what do? You make sure that you extend their reps, but you bring in a veteran, somebody that's been in the system before, and somebody who's been in multiple systems in the past. Remember, this is a kid that started off at JUCO, went his way on over to New Mexico State, went his way on over to Duke last year. Every offense has been different for him, and he's found success. Found success when he was with the Aggies, over 600 rushing yards, 5 touchdowns. Found success when he was with a Duke, over 800 rushing yards. So you want to have that running back by committee approach, kind of similar to what we saw a few years ago when it was Jalen Wright, when it was Jabari Small, when it was a little bit of Dylan Sampson. Now you get to have that approach. Now you don't have to worry about wasting the wear and tear on the tread of the tires of the young players. You also get an experienced guy that maybe is going to have a substantial role. And the thing that really stood out to me when you look at the process of the interviews afterwards seems to really be a relationship guy. The relationships that Josh Heupel seems to form with his running backs is nothing is guaranteed, but if you continue to stick out in practice, we're going to make sure that we stick you in the right formation so that way you get to test your talent. And I think that's a guy like Star Thomas. Comes on in, earns his way up the pecking order, and is probably going to have a substantial role to wash, rinse, repeat. This being a top 15 rushing unit in 2025, this being a unit that continues to put an emphasis on the ground game and take a lot of pressure off of Nico Iamaleava until he is ready to take that next step forward.
Yeah, and I like him in the screen game. I like him out in the flats as well. They're talking about Star Thomas here. I like him. Again, the numbers aren't going to blow you away. You go back and watch some of his key plays and some of these PFF Ultimate databases. You do see hey, man, he is pretty good on these 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7. Again, that's not going to pop from a number standpoint because 6, 7 yards ain't going to change much in the numerical standpoint. But I feel like he's that weapon as well if you want to add him from an extension of the run game to the depth piece as well.
I think the other thing that's really important is that when you talk about that passing game, averages 9.3 yards per catch, over 50 receptions, 6 touchdowns. So when he's in the red zone, he will find a way to get into the end zone. It's a wash, rinse, repeat mechanism. I think for a volunteer team that we don't know what the future unfolds and what it looks like entirely, but I still have an emphasis on this team being good. When Tennessee is good, it's good for college football. And they have the right coach. I think they have the right quarterback. I think they have to change up some things offensively, but still, there's a lot to like about the direction that this team is heading in, going into another season underneath Heupel. He has 2 10-win campaigns. He's got his right passer. He's got a foundation, a top-tier recruiting class. They're landing the right type of players in the transfer portal. Star Thomas fits the bill. And you know what else fits the bill? FanDuel. From the first whistle to the final drive, FanDuel takes the NFL playoffs to the next level because right now, new customers can bet $5, just $5, to get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's $300 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. The FanDuel app gives you everything for live bets, same game parlays, and so much more. Plus, when you win, you get paid instantly. So just do us a favor, visit FanDuel.com/SECU to join today and get started with $300 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com/SECU. Make this playoff unforgettable with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or plus in select states for Kansas and affiliation for Kansas State Casino, or 18 plus in DC. First online real money wagers. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued with non-refundable draw with bets and expired after 7 days receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.com/FanDuel.com. Gambling problems, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-777 or visit CPRS Chat in Connecticut or visit mdgambling.help in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gambling.com/help, MAORG. Call 800-327-505 for 24/7 support and in Massachusetts, or call in 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. All right, Dave, let's go ahead and grade this move as we always do. I'll let you break down the process. Elite, all league, winnable plus, winnable minus. What do we got Star Thomas in right now?
Yeah, anybody that's seen any of our transfer portal grades in this 24-25 cycle, me and Cole break it down like this. This is just so you know where this is coming from, the origin of it. Kirby Smart, Dan Lanning kind of dumbing down the Nick Saban, Bill Belichick critical factors. This is more of just hey, we can put a tag on him from our current roster from a recruiting standpoint, so we're talking the same language. Elite, all league. Yeah, there's some differences, splitting hairs a little bit, but most of your roster is not going to come from those 2 categories. I mean, elite, think of Travis Hunter, an all league type of guy. Walter Nolan from Texas A&M. I mean, dudes that are just, come on, guys. We know they're a first, second round type of draft pick is what you're expecting. Winnable plus is where majority of your roster is going to be if you're a good football team. It's going to be, you can bat 50 to 70% when you're grading your own roster. And a lot of teams go back and grade their own roster twice, or at least you should, just to kind of do some quality control, see where you miss, see where we can get better in our takes. If you're grading every 10 players and you're hitting on 50 to 70%, you're probably going to have a potential playoff contending roster. Winnable minus, don't get upset with just the minus. Don't look at it from that perspective. This is a win you can win with, but not because. We're winnable plus, you're going to be winning because of these guys. Winnable minus, you got to surround them with other good players, and they kind of got to fit into the roles. Like the offensive lines where winnable plus guys arise, the wide receiver group, at times in the secondary, defensive line. I think for our guy, Star Thomas here, I'm going to be a little bit more lean on the safe side here. I'm going to go winnable minus, but I could be convinced to go winnable plus. I think just some outside circumstances will determine how good he can be outside of his own just ability. Again, what is Josh Heupel and Coach Sims' philosophy now after kind of drilling Dylan Sampson into the ground. Now, to be fair, they may say, hey, I mean, without Dylan Sampson, we don't make the playoffs, and he won SEC Offensive Player of the Year. So, like, I hear you. You got hurt at the end of the year, but you know what? Like, it still worked out for us. I just think maybe they adjust to having a little bit more depth and not running a running back into the wall 30 times against teams like Kentucky and Mississippi State where you're kind of controlling it late. I'm a good winnable minus, Bear, because I think it is going to depend how guys like Peyton Lewis, Deshaun Bishop kind of grow too. The offensive line, they got to get better. I mean, how do they develop? Because all this around him, Nico's ability to develop, I mean, his ability to stretch the field vertically will soften the boxes again for this run game. So there's a lot of things that go in and have to come together for Star Thomas to ultimately reach that winnable plus, and they're winning because of him. So I think they're going to win with him, but I think it's going to have to be around some other circumstances as well. The quarterback position, offensive line position, his other comrades in the running back group. So winnable minus for me right now, Bear. Love the take. Pretty underrated take overall, and I like building the depth in that running back room.
I go winnable plus just for the experience standpoint. And that's really all it comes down to. This is a team that last year ranked top 15 in every single running back metric. Yards after contact, yards per play, rush attempts per game, rushing yards, yards per game, rushing attempts. And so they're going to put an emphasis still on being a run-oriented team that sets up the pass. I don't know what I'm going to get in the passing attack next year. We got Mike Matthews back. You also have back Chris Brazzell. You brought on in Amari Jefferson, the freshman from Alabama. But it's a young core and guys who you're still building that relationship with Nico with. So what's the best way to capitalize that or neutralize any mental mistakes? Having a solid run game. You're bringing in a veteran. You're bringing in a dude that's been the bell cow before. You're bringing in somebody who has experience playing in 3 different offenses. You have somebody that you're coming on in that could be a superstar from the jump, can be a quality overall difference maker on third down, can be effective in the passing game, can be effective in pass pro. He also knows what it takes to win. He led his team to a Conference USA championship in 2023 with New Mexico State, and he led his team to a 9-win season with Malik Murphy out in Durham underneath first-year coach Manny Diaz. So you're bringing in a lot of skills that you want for a veteran on a team that needs to have that vocal voice inside that locker room, that is not afraid to step on up and be the enforcer, especially in games to where you really are trying to solidify yourself as a premier team in college football. So it's going to take pressure off of Deshaun Bishop to have to take that next step forward. It's going to take pressure off of Peyton Lewis to take that next step forward. It's going to take pressure off of Nico Iamaleava to have to be the answer, the savior, the solution. It gives you a secondary punch. And to me, that's always going to be the biggest positive. When you have the ability to not only run the football, but the ability to trust your guy with the football on the ground, I think that that's always a positive. This is not a guy that you can trust the exact same way as Dylan Sampson going into the season. That doesn't mean he can't grow into that role, and it doesn't mean that he can't continue to prove why this is an under-the-radar type of move for an organization that has tasted the college football playoff, left the postseason with a sour taste in their mouth, and they never want to feel that way again. So I go winnable plus for a lot of reasons, but the main one, experience at a position that you need experience for.
Yeah, I agree, Bear. There's no argument you can totally dislike this. I mean, it is what it is. I think it's a win for the personnel department. If you don't get a lot from him, shoot. I mean, at some point, though, you're going to have to get some reps from a 3 running back. So I think you're going to utilize him at some point. So
the beauty of this, though, is I feel like that this is the time to where you say, we're going back to that 3 rushing set. Whether it be Peyton Lewis getting only 80 carries in a season and Deshaun Bishop getting 123, we're going back to that Jabari Small, Jalen Wright, Dylan Sampson type mentality, because you want to what? When we do that, we're in a really good spot to continue to develop our running backs and also not break our entire running back room down by one player. And when he gets hurt, our season's already going up in flames.
No, I agree.
But let us know in the comment section down below. Do you agree that Star Thomas is not only a perfect fit for Josh Heupel's offense, but he has the capabilities of becoming a future all-SEC running back, or just a piece of the party? But let us know in the comment section down below. Like, review, hit subscribe. Follow us on the social channels, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at SEC Unfiltered. Follow Dave at Dave Shumate SEC, me at Mr. Cole Thompson, and check out all of our great work found at SECUnfiltered.com. For Dave Shumate, I'm Cole Thompson. Rocky Top, you got to start. Quite literally, you got to start. Peace.